Oh my God, you didn't.
Nope.
Start everything over.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Metacast podcast. That's the podcast about itself, ourselves, and the self in general. My name is Ty. As always, I'm your host, and I'm joined by my awesome and trusty co-host, Distance. How are you doing, buddy?
Fantastic.
See, it always sounds sarcastic. Like I believe that sometimes you mean it, but it always just sounds so sarcastic.
It's just my voice. It's just how I talk. That's what I sound like. I sound sarcastic all the time.
You've got RSV.
It's like it's
resting
really funny
sarcastic voice.
when you're dating someone and you drop the L bomb for the first time. It's like I love you, and they laugh in your face because they think that you're joking. It's really sad.
Does that happen to you?
No, of course not. Why would that? It's not happen to anyone. It's not me. It's a joke. I was just
the topic for tonight is how to be rejected, and I think that we are gonna. No, actually, no. You came up with a pretty sweet last minute topic. I don't want to say last minute. I guess it was yesterday, so it's not like actual last minute, but I'm excited for it. Honestly, why don't you give us the intro since you're kind of leading in.
Oh, okay. So I think the reason why I came up with this is because it's something I've been having difficulty with. So it's like last weekend, my girlfriend was like rubbing like my shoulder because it was really tight, and she was like, "Oh," and you could hear like crackling and stuff under her thumb. Like it was a really nasty like knot like in my muscle, and she's like, "What do you do to relax?" And what I told her was my second thought, which was, I don't. But my first thought in my head was actually, what is relax? Like, I just didn't get it. And I think I realized that actually is something that I'm not good at. And it's funny because like what we do is talk about just introspective things here and generally things that can help us and maybe our listeners be better people and try to evoke thought in each other. And we haven't really talked about knowing when to chill out.
Yeah, and I think that is something that I would assume a lot of people have problems with that. I don't know if it's like a victim or symptom of our times or what really it is, but I don't think that it's very common for actually, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of like all the lazy people I know that I feel like are relaxed constantly. But I feel like there is a lot of people that are constantly working, trying to work towards the next thing, and don't really take the time to relax or wind down. And I don't know. I mean, I feel weird saying that I'm one of them because I think that almost makes me like it comes across as like pompous or like I think I'm like some super hard worker. But I do recognize that I keep myself very busy, and I don't take a lot of downtime to just kind of decompress. I like the downtime that I do have, I tend to fill it with other activities that are just as stressful as work or anything else like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. It's kind of weird because it's like if I'm not at work and I'm having a stressful time at work, there's a few things that I do when I'm not working that I'm like, oh, that's just going to cause me more stress. Like, I can't do that. That would be crazy. But then it's like, well, what? Well, actually, to go a little further with the girlfriend dialogue, I actually called her the next day and told her that I actually didn't really even understand what the hell she meant. And she was like, relax. So I asked her what she did to relax. And she said that she goes to a place usually by herself, doesn't really do anything, say anything, type anything in her phone, access any media. She might maybe read something or whatever, but she just does whatever she needs to do to not think about other stuff.
Yeah. And I think like a good what that just made me think of, like as you were saying that, is that's like a world without deadlines. You know, you're doing things only for yourself. You're doing things that there's no real pressure. And I think that that's one of the things I've realized about myself is the pastimes that I choose and the things that should be relaxing, you know, the things that are my hobbies tend to be just as stressful, and it's because of these imposed deadlines. I mean, whether they're self-imposed or imposed by the activity them itself, there are these deadlines and this stress that comes along with it that doesn't really allow me to actually relax.
Yeah, it's like you take all of the other things in your life and you forget about those things and you focus on one self-imposed thing to stress about.
Mm-hmm.
So you're focusing on one other thing that's still stressing you out.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, just like Lee said in chat, like I think he was talking about what he does to relax, which I guess he plays WoW. He is someone that I've played with recently in WoW Classic, and that was one of the things that occurred to me while Jesus, my accent sucks. Like WoW and WoW are the same words for me. That was what World of Warcraft, I guess, is what I should say instead of abbreviating it that way. But one of the things that I try to do to relax, or my main hobby, what I spend most of my downtime doing, is playing World of Warcraft. But I play it to a level that it is not relaxing. I'm constantly having to do something. I'm constantly like, I need to keep on top of things or I'm going to fall behind the rest of my group. And like, it's not, I mean, there are times where I can just sit and put on Netflix and play World of Warcraft in a passive way that I guess would be as close to relaxing as possible. But it does not sound like what your girlfriend mentioned of almost like a meditative retreat kind of relax, where you're actually stepping away from things and really taking a break and like almost like active relaxation, I would say.
Yeah. When I talked to her, I realized the only times where I'm not freaking out about everything is if I'm on a bicycle or a motorcycle or when I'm playing a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And I can play an instrument and actually be relaxed. But
Okay.
even when I get on a bike, a road bike in particular, but also like the mountain bike, I mean, I'll go out with the intention to just have like a nice, chill, relaxing ride. Then in the middle of it, I'm like, "You gotta go fast, bitch!" And
Exactly.
then I'll
Yeah.
just like, and then it completely ruins the whole relaxing thing. It's like I don't know. It's either like I'm either going to get off of this bicycle or I'm going to try really hard to die on it.
Well, do you think, I mean, is there any part that comes from a desire to constantly better yourself in some way? Because I think that like for me, I set goals with fucking everything, and like I don't know if it's just an addiction to that, trying to push limits thing or what, but it's like I mean, for World of Warcraft, an example, it's like I can't just let myself be a mediocre player at that game. It's like I've always got to be like, okay, I need to be top of this level. I need to be, you know, in this top X percentage, or I don't feel like I'm doing it properly, I guess, for lack of a better way to word that. Um, do you feel that with any of the things you do, or is it just that you? Yeah, I mean, not that you like you're trying to be in the top like percentage of something, but it's just that you want to, rather than just using it as something to enjoy, you want it to be an opportunity to progress in some way.
Yeah, I mean, of the things I do that I have potential to be competitive at, and that's a few video games and um well, that's sad. Just video games.
I think I'm in the same boat, man.
I think that it gets that way with a lot of things because I mean I want to do well at something.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I think that because the major game that I'm playing these days is Rainbow Six Siege, and when I play that with the group that I play it with, I like the games the best when we're really focusing on stuff and like calling things out
Yeah.
and really cooperating in a fluid motion. But I also like the fun of it because the people that I play with are like really funny and like we just make a lot of jokes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the guys, like even though he's on my team, we constantly compete on the leaderboard. I'm like, hey, you look at the leaderboard. Twitch response is usually something like "fuck off" or "wait till next round."
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can, and then I end up watching like videos on how to be better at this thing, or like watching people's recommendations, or
Mhm.
asking people that I play with how I can be better. So I think that I can relate to that. It's almost like it, it would be more relaxing if I was okay with not being great at it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but how can you have fun doing something you suck at?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's like it's been consistent with every game that I've ever played. It's like I have some desire to be like, I mean, I know I'm not going to be like the best in the world or like world first or things like that, but I always have a desire to be in a certain like top percentage where it's like I know that I am accomplishing something that the vast majority of players of this game are not going to, or it'll take them way longer to, or something along those lines. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just like an inherent desire that I have, or is it a fear of relaxation? You know, is it like I don't know. It's kind of like you bringing this topic up has made me start to do some self reflection that I've never really considered before.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that even if you, and there's nothing wrong with having a desire to be better at stuff, but
Mhm.
even if you want to be better at things, there is a time where you need to take a break from that stuff in order to be better at it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that
Because if
it's
you,
like there's like a diminishing returns on like your progressive level of something, right? Like,
yeah, so even if you're, and for lack of a better word, I'll say, even if you're maniacally trying to get better at something,
mhm.
you still need to take time to kind of chill out and get away from that thing for a little while.
Yeah.
um, or maybe just try to do that thing for fun or to enjoy it. And you know, there have been times where I've just ridden a bicycle for the enjoyment of riding a bicycle, but and it's kind of nice, I guess. But
It
it's
sounded like you're trying
like
to convince yourself there.
uh, I might have been.
Yeah.
Uh, but then it's like, if it's strenuous, does that mean it can't be relaxing?
Hmm.
Like, is strenuous the opposite of relaxed?
Well, I guess I mean we kind of have to define what we're really meaning in this in the context of this conversation. What do we actually mean by relax? Because like I think like you're saying, you can be mentally relaxed while being physically stimulated, or you can be physically relaxed while being mentally stimulated, right? I think there's two different um categories going on there.
So, according to dictionary.com, relax is a verb that means make or become less tense or anxious.
Okay.
Oh, this is interesting. There's a second definition here: make a rule or restriction less strict while not abolishing it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That makes sense, yeah. To relax a rule or yeah, that makes sense.
So, I guess if it can distract you from stressful things, even if it's a strenuous activity, then
Mhm.
perhaps that's relaxing. Because I think when most people think about relaxing, they're just like, I'm just going to lay down right here and I am going to watch Benedict Cumberbatch pretend to be Sherlock Holmes and enjoy it.
I would
Or,
rather watch him pretend to be Doctor Strange, but that's to each their own. That's fine. That's fine.
oh yeah, I mean, I'd watch Benedict Cumberbatch do pretty much anything. That came out
Yeah.
all wrong.
I think no, I think we meant it.
I think I, I might have just learned something about myself I didn't know.
I
Um, okay, hey.
But yeah, other
um,
than benevolent cucumber patch movies, what other things do I mean? Like people will relax in many different ways. Like I know for a while, my main source of relaxation was like weightlifting, and like you're saying, that is an actual like vigorous, active thing. Like most people would not consider that relaxing. You know, it's like if you get 100 people to envision relaxation, there's going to be a large percentage that it's like feet up on a beach somewhere with a margarita. There's going to be a large percentage that it's like in bed with covers watching Netflix. Like you're saying, you know, like most people have very similar ideas of relaxation, I would think. And most of them would not include being in a gym lifting weights.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like it is physically not relaxation. Like you're actually applying tension to your muscles
Yeah.
and contracting them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's physically not relaxing, but maybe mentally it can be, because like
Yeah.
my boss is like that too. Like I lift weights and I don't hate it, but
Mm-hmm.
and I mostly enjoy it, but some days I'm just kind of like, ouch, ouch,
Yeah.
ouch. But my boss is like, he's a power lifter, and he's like that like all the time. I mean, like he does it in the middle of the day, and that's kind of like how he decompresses.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's just not being so crazy about the stuff could make it more relaxing.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you touched on the difference between like mentally relaxing and physically relaxing, because it's like that really did occur to me that it's like at the gym, the hardest thing I have to do mentally is like barbell math. Like adding 45s on to like, okay, like hold on, this is 135, or then okay, or like counting reps in a set. It's like, other than that, mentally you're just kind of in almost a meditative state, where you're not really having to think about much. You can either just listen to music, listen to a podcast, but you're not doing anything stressful to your mind. You're stressing your muscles, like you said, physically, but yeah, not the brain muscle.
The brain muscle. And yeah, I guess that, because I can relate to that in a way, because with the weightlifting, well, there's other stuff. Your mind is somewhere, but your mind is in the physical. Because like a
Yeah.
lot of people that don't understand weightlifting think that like bench pressing is just like you put it here and you go hooah. But it's like, no, you have to pinch your scapula together,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to arch your back just enough to try to take your deltoids out of the motion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to pay attention to the contraction of the pectoral muscles in addition to pressing it up with your triceps. So you're able to focus pretty intently on a physical activity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most people even talk about like that mind muscle connection, where it is like you're
Yeah.
really trying to actively feel what muscle or muscle group is moving the weight or controlling the weight.
And I remember, because I think I've said this a couple times, that I decided I wanted to ride a bicycle 100 miles in a day, and then I trained up for it, and then I got to it, and then I did it, and then afterward I was kind of like, oh. It happens to a lot of people when they do something like that. But I think I've
Yeah.
told you before, and I might have said it on the air before, that um, I remember being there in the moment and spending almost 12 hours on a bicycle and just pedal, pedal, pedal,
Yep.
pedal, pedal, and like mountain biking is really strenuous going up, but on the way down, like it's not as simple as just focusing on pedaling, because you have to be aware of all kinds of things that are happening. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still something that's a distraction from the stresses or even the mundanity of everyday life.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can totally relate that you're not really thinking about anything, you're just kind of going. And especially if you're doing endurance sport, if you think for too long, it'll kind of drive you crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well,
You just
so
have to get in this sort of like autonomous sort of state where you're just like a robot. It's hard to describe.
I want to touch on what Lee was mentioning in chat there. Like, what are your feelings on relaxation with friends or relaxing alone? Do you think that there is a time for either? Do you think someone can get, depending on the person, can they get the same amount of relaxation from either?
What is Friends? Just kidding.
It was a late '90s sitcom with Jennifer Aniston's nipples.
God, that I would. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't forget about that. I'd love to forget about Friends. I found it to be a bit overrated. So yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of person you are, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that for many introverts, they don't consider it relaxing necessarily. It could be fun to be with friends, but for them, they're probably going to have to sort of be alone at some point.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you're an introvert and you have a friend you hang out with where you don't really interact that much. Maybe you just sit down and watch Rick and Morty or something, or you sit in the same room and you work on two different projects. Like we haven't hung out a long time, but I had a friend like where we would go to like a coffee shop and sit, and he would work on his comic, and I would like do sketches of motorcycles and shit. We'd just sit there.
Yeah. Like not even really
Yeah.
interacting, just kind of being in
Yeah.
each other's presence. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fucking word. Like the only sound we heard from each other was the occasional slurp of a coffee cup, or maybe the sound of an eraser.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely in that boat where I mean I am very introverted. You know, like when I am with people in real life, in person, it is very draining on me. I feel like I'm having to actively do something that is not natural to me, and like you're saying, it definitely is not relaxing. It's fun, I can enjoy myself, but it is not actually relaxing. I need to get away and recharge and decompress after that. But it is different for me online. Like whenever I'm just hanging out in Discord with people and they're talking, and like, you know, every once in a while I can throw in a joke and have fun with them. Like that to me can feel relaxing. And there's definitely a division between the it is spending time with people, but it's like it hits me in a very different way.
Yeah, with being online with people, it's not much different for me. I kind of feel there's a difference between playing a primarily social game and playing one where you're kind of alone, like playing Doom single player or playing like The Sims by yourself. And it's odd because I'm sort of the strange mix between an extrovert and an introvert. I mean, I do tend to actually get energy from people, but certain interactions I do find a bit draining.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really. I feel like online friends are the same in some regard. I mean, it's different because you're not in physically in the same place as them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the fact that interaction is happening. Plus, any of my friends online, we're interacting all the time because I play games where you have no choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to make sure everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and that can get really exhausting. Just trying to communicate and keep up on stuff, but
yeah, I don't know why it's so different for me. I mean, it seems like for a lot of people, I mean, like you kind of agree that there's a difference there, but it seems like for a lot of people, like interaction is interaction, whether it be online or in person. Like it doesn't seem to cause it doesn't seem to strike them in a very different way. But for me, it's like I realize that I'm almost like two completely different people, whether it's online or in person. Like I'm much more comfortable with people online. And I don't know why. It's like even when I'm on camera, I know my mannerisms, my body language is still on display, but I don't feel nearly as self-conscious as I do when I'm out somewhere. Like when we've gone out places and I'm like in public, I'm like very nervous and self-conscious about every little movement I make, how my body language is read, like things like that. But that doesn't occur to me while I'm on camera in front of people. And I don't really know why there's a difference there. I don't know why this is so much more relaxing to me than the same thing but in person. I don't know.
well, in this situation, it's a lot different because you're not completely aware of people. Like you don't even
True.
know
Yeah.
how many people are watching right now. I mean, I do, but you don't.
Yeah.
And so I mean that would it's just the lack of awareness, I think, of how many people might be observing or not observing, or the fact that someone that you don't notice might be paying attention to you. And that this I mean this goes into this, at this point the conversation is sort of going into the realm of anxiety, which
Yeah.
is actually something that we could very, very well we could fill up an hour and a half on that for sure.
Yeah, true. That could be a new episode. Yeah.
So that's definitely something that we should talk about at some point. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm starting to get to the point where I think I'm starting to realize that maybe it doesn't really matter. So I think that maybe perhaps each of us has this idea that we're not relaxing because we don't do it exactly the same way that a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
But then like maybe we are. Like the one thing I can say is that riding bicycles on the road or riding mountain bikes is a bit different. But riding a motorcycle for me is 100% just chill.
Yeah.
It's like I can even do things on the motorcycle that would seem scary, but they don't strike me as being frightening.
But there's still, I mean, like you pointed out with downhill, like even downhill mountain biking, you're having to be hyper vigilant and aware of a lot of things while you're on a motorcycle. So it's not like the type of relaxation where you can just be, you know, in your own head, not thinking about your surroundings. So I mean, like, but like you're saying, maybe relaxation is a personal thing that we're trying to look at what other people's idea of relax is. You know, like like I was saying, the stereotypical beach picture with someone with their feet up in a margarita. I would say to a vast majority of people that is like peak relaxation. But maybe that's not our idea of relaxation.
You know, now that I think about it, like now that you said the second time, I get really anxious thinking about sitting on a beach with a margarita doing nothing.
Why is that?
I just don't like it. I feel like if I see a picture of someone doing that, I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna die someday. Like I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I think that says something about both of us. Like you immediately went to you're gonna die someday. My mind immediately went to I could be doing something in WoW instead. You know, it's but it's like we're both thinking of like almost that, like almost time wasted, right? Rather than it just being enjoying that time for what it is. It's like, well, that time could be better used doing X or Y or yeah. But like we pointed out earlier, there is a actual productive value to relaxation or stepping away from something, right? Like I mean, I think like if you are, let's say you're doing a task you've got 20 hours to do a task. If you just work 20 hours straight, I would argue that most times you're going to get less done than if you work 5 hours, take a break, 5 hours, you know what I'm saying? Like even though maybe over the course of the 20 hours, you don't actually work as long, the fact that you're going to come back refreshed after stepping away from something, I think you're going to be more productive in the long run.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's definitely true. You know, and there's actually, for me, like with my job, things have been pretty crazy and they've been very stressful. And I think that once I get to the point where I know that the major things that need to be taken care of are done, I'm going to take like 3 fucking weeks off of work, you know, and I think that that'll actually make me more productive when I come back. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like even in the work day, like it's good for people to have a little bit of downtime.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's why if someone ends up working several 12-hour days in a row, they're going to get to the point where by day 3, maybe day 4, their work is going to be shit. Yeah. Like they're not going to be performing at all the way that they are capable of performing or how they normally would.
So speaking of, why do we expect that from young doctors? Like, right? Isn't that the most dangerous profession that we work them like literal like 16-hour shifts like that?
Yeah, particularly surgeons. We really we should. Well, I don't think surgeons work like that, but they're not like. I'm sure there's ER surgeons and stuff that are on call and crap like that. But yeah, it's a good point. Let's definitely give airplane pilots some time to chill out. Let's I think there's actually regulations on how long they're allowed to actually be on the clock or whatever.
Really? Okay.
I hope. If there's not, there fucking should be. If not, I'm writing a congressman now.
I would assume that like most modern airplanes almost fly themselves at this point. Like I would think that like I would think that you're almost able to relax in the cockpit for a good amount of the flight. But I don't know. I'm speaking just from nowhere.
Yeah, it's like what are we paying these people for?
I've played Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I know everything. Okay, so.
Oh, I haven't played that, so I know nothing about planes
Exactly. Thank you.
flying. I should have played that so I could be an expert.
But yeah, the I do really like your idea though of maybe relaxation means different things to different people. And maybe our form of active relaxation, while to some people may not, they're like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not relaxing? Maybe we are in our own way. I guess I don't know. I I
Uh, I would say that I think that as long as, because I think that there's certain ways, like things that you've mentioned, where I think that the the idea of relaxing during that thing seems unlikely if you have pushed like goals on yourself that are stretch goals, and
mhm.
that and you give yourself deadlines like that, you want to do this then or do that now or whatever, as opposed to just having fun in the process of what you're doing.
Mhm.
Then I think that any activity could become stressful like that. I
Yeah.
think that even if you're someone that likes to run, but now you're training to do a race type event, then you will be stressing out with your hobby because you're trying to get to the point where you're going to perform better and like win.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at that point, you have no choice but for that to become a bit stressful. And it's the same thing with a video game. Because the guys that I play with, like, there's these things you get in Rainbow Six called alpha packs, and your performance determines if you get them or not. And a couple of the guys I play with were freaking out about these things
Hmm.
until one day one of them said, you know what, fuck it. I don't care if I get an alpha pack. Let's just play. And he seemed to really loosen up after that.
Mhm.
Like it seemed like he was actually having more fun playing
Yeah.
the game because he hadn't attached some kind of goal to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I think
exactly. I
that,
mean, just like I'm pretty sure when you were talking about with me, it was World of Warcraft, right? And it's like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that whole launch week, like, there was no part of that was fun for me, really. I mean, yeah, I can say I enjoyed playing the game, I guess, but it was like, no, I put a goal on myself that I was like, no, I'm going to work as hard as I can to reach this. And yes, I can have fun playing World of Warcraft, but that week was not fun. That was like a lot of stress, a lot of long hours, and it was rough.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was all seemed very difficult to me, and it actually seemed like it was taking a bit of a toll on you. It's funny because I've got all these different weird ways people say they relax in my head now. Like I know people that go to the gun range to relax. Like you're hearing a bunch of tiny explosions around you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and there's hot pieces of metal flying through the air,
yeah,
and
literally a
that is
place you
relaxing.
need to wear hearing protection to be there. Like it's so loud
Yeah.
you can't not have it, and that's relaxing. Like, yeah,
Yet some people, I guess, do find it relaxing.
mm-hmm.
But it's like I, I'm actually realizing that after the thing with the beach, I'm also thinking about all the things that you would think are relaxing that would drive me fucking crazy, like knitting. Screw that.
Yep.
I'd have a panic attack if I tried to knit for more than a half hour. Like I watched my mom knit for like 45 seconds and I felt like my brain had started bleeding.
Yeah, and it's not just because like I don't know how to do it. That type of repetitive action like that does not at all appeal to me. Like those are the tasks at work that drive me insane. Those are not relaxing. That is when my mind goes crazy and it's like I need to either find a way to automate this or get out of here. Like yeah, I can't do that. Hmm.
Yeah, it's. I realize that might have been hyperbolic, but who knows? Maybe my brain did bleed for a little bit when I watched my mom knit. But like I had a coworker that started doing that too. We did a project where we ended up actually more or less taking a road trip around Texas for a week,
Okay.
and she was like in the back knitting the whole freaking time. I was like, oh my god, you're an old lady.
Yeah.
She's in her 40s, so it's like, oh no. And why is that an old person stereotype? Maybe that's not fair.
Yeah, it kind of it like came back as a younger thing. I used to know quite a few young women that were like really into knitting, and I don't know if it was like because of the aesthetic, really, or if it was like a general interest in it. I don't know. I'm trying to like guess someone else's motivations when I have no idea. But it was kind of interesting because that is a very like, I mean, when you picture someone knitting, they're normally over the age of 60, right? Like you do not picture someone that's 18 knitting. But
Yep. Well, and it's funny because I think that a lot of people would accept that cooking is a relaxing thing.
I think there's a lot of people that disagree though. It's like people that are not good at cooking, that would probably be a source of stress. Yeah.
Because
You put a recipe in front of them, they're like, oh shit.
Like, what do I do? I need to go knit something. Well, I guess not even now that I think about it, it's a bit abnormal for that to be relaxing because there's a bunch of sharp objects and there's like hot things, hot oil, all kinds of ways you can harm yourself. I mean, there's basically fucking power tools in your kitchen.
I mean, all kinds of ways you can mess it up. It's like, I think that's like
true.
One thing about relaxation that a lot of people like is the absence of risk. When it comes down to just like, this is an activity that like reading, for instance, you can't fuck up reading. Like maybe you daydream and you didn't absorb a page and you go back and you read it again. There's no way to like actually mess that activity up. Which
that's true.
It is interesting though, because I think a lot of the things that we've talked about, there is risk. I mean, for instance, the things you do to relax, there is actual like, physical risk. You could either harm yourself or die doing them.
Okay, Mom. God, I'm just kidding. I mean, my mom does say stuff like that, but it's true.
I like it better when you call me Daddy, please.
Oh, I was seriously about to do it, but I was like, nope. I would just feel so weird. That would not be relaxing. But now, oh man, that's nuts because I don't like baking. And you think based on the other things I've said, it's because there's not enough movement, not enough stuff going on.
Okay.
But the reason why I don't like baking is because you do some stuff, you put it in the oven, and you gotta wait to find out how bad you fucked it up.
Yep.
And like I sit there and I'm like, oh God, what if I swear, was it baking soda or baking powder? Oh no. Like, was it? I mean, I don't
teaspoons or tablespoons. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's like I sit there and I wonder, I can bake cookies without freaking out. But I think that's actually because I like cookies better.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So like I'm more looking forward to eating them than wondering how badly I screwed it up.
Yeah.
So my mother would not be happy about me saying this, but straight up, she made peanut butter cookies. I think it was peanut butter cookies last Christmas.
Okay.
She forgot to put the sugar in them.
So did they just like taste like dog treats?
They just tasted like flour. Basically, like take peanut butter and turn the intensity down to 2.
Okay, yeah.
So it's basically just like peanut butter that was like cut in half by flour.
Mom, did you make power bars? Like what?
Like, cause I ate one. I was like, this tastes odd. And then one of my sisters is like, Mom, did you put the sugar in this? And she's like, oh.
Yeah, I guess that is an important ingredient for cookies, right?
It really is. So I feel like, now after that, I have some weird complex where it's like, did I put the sugar in that? But yeah, it's weird because the reason why I like the other kind of cooking, like where there's like heat and oil everywhere and like things are happening quickly and they're sizzling and all this, is because it's kind of exhilarating, I guess.
Yeah.
But then, like on the inside,
that's weird though, because exhilarating is almost an opposite, like an antonym to relaxation, though.
Maybe my brain's wrong. Is my brain messed up?
Dude, it may be. I mean, like both of ours may be, though. Honestly,
it's like I feel like this entire podcast is not even how do you relax. It's are we fucked up?
I think that could be the name of the show, honestly.
And if we are fucked up, what kind and what degree? Yeah, actually, we should just call this the are we fucked up, or are we fucked up ? Just be the name of the podcast.
The Are We Fucked Cast.
The Are We Fucked Cast. There we go.
Oh man. Was that like
let us know what you think.
Yeah, right. Yeah, comment below how fucked up we are. No, like so when you picture yourself trying to do the stereotypical relaxation things, you get like somewhat anxious, right? Or you feel like it's time wasted, or you like that would not feel relaxing to you, right? Like if you were to right now go and spend some time just sitting in a hammock, not doing anything.
Fucking hate hammocks.
All right, so not a hammock, but
Does that answer your question?
Well, see, it may just be a hammock thing though. Okay, in your bed, curled up, like just binge watching a Netflix show. You're not allowed to do anything else. Is that relaxing to you, or are you going to feel anxious as if time is just ticking by and you're not using it to its fullest?
What show?
The ideal show for you, whatever like you enjoy the most.
If it were a Netflix series, if it's like the kind of stuff that I like to watch, where like there's a whole lot of stuff going on and it's very action packed, my mirror neurons just make it feel like stuff's happening.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
So
I can see that.
For that kind of thing, I would really. I mean, I'm not gonna watch like fucking Martha Stewart. Like one time, I tried to watch one of those like architecture shows.
Okay.
And like the houses were really cool, but I just couldn't. Like it was too like ugh, there wasn't enough going on. Then I watched another show where there was actually interesting shit, and they had like cool guests. And there's an episode where these guys like ended up. One of the hosts is in the living area of this house, and is Denmark on the coast?
I have no idea. This is not a geography podcast.
It was a Scandinavian country, and she stops for a moment. She goes, "Huh, would you look at that?" And off in the distance, the other host on the show is walking into the water on the beach, butt-ass naked, with the two guys that designed the house.
Nice. Okay.
And I was like, this is entertaining as fuck. So like for that one, it was, you know what? Here, hold on.
Okay.
I'm still on camera. Here, look. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Well, he can't hear us. I'm an idiot.
I'm trying this.
What is he? Oh, is he just gonna go try to relax? I have no idea what's going on right now. Oh yeah, okay. He's gonna curl up with a blanket. Okay. So I think I've lost my co-host at this point. All right, he's okay. So he is in full relaxation mode. See, my theory is that while trying to do that, the way that he is, and I
fuck this. No.
Exactly. And like the way that both of us are, I feel like when I do stuff like that.
Absolutely not. Nope. Oh, something just fell off of my desk.
Was that metal or glass?
Yeah. No. I actually just realized that blanket I just put over myself on my couch.
Yeah.
That's only there for people I'm dating.
Okay. Well.
Like the last time that was used, actually every time that's been used in the last year and a half, it's been because I've had like a girlfriend or a female friend over.
Mm-hmm.
And they've like grabbed it and they've actually used that to, I don't know, relax or whatever. Like, I don't like
whatever that means.
Yeah, like whatever the relax is.
Yeah, so you do not spend a lot of time chilling on your couch then, it seems. Which
yeah, I mean, I didn't. Could you see the look on my face?
Not clearly, but you did not look happy. You did not look you did not look relaxed.
It was for like the sake of experimentation. I was like, this needs to fucking end now. I was like, I've given this way too much of a chance. Like, how long that was like 15 seconds?
Maybe if that, yeah.
12 seconds? I don't know, man. Like
when you do shit like that, you feel like you're not making the best use of time, right? Like you're kind of wasting time, right?
Yeah, like actually the tightness is back in my shoulder after trying that. Like I really feel like that stressed me out.
Jesus. Yeah, as bad as it is, like I'm the same exact way. It's like today, like I am incredibly exhausted. Like I'm gonna go to bed super early right after this podcast. I have gotten way too little sleep the past few nights. Last night our raid went until 2 a.m. And yeah, it was rough. Like it's not good. I'm upset at people for making that happen, but that's a completely separate story. But either way, so it's like I came home today and it's like I could have laid down between, like 5:30 and 7 and tried to either relax or take like a short nap, and it's like I can't do it. I feel like there's like that's time that it's like, I'm not going to get, it's not like if it was restful sleep, that would be different. But it's like when it's just relaxation time like that, I just feel like it's wasting time. It's like I could be in WoW trying to make some gold or trying to get a piece of gear that I need, or it's like that's time that I could use for progress rather than just sitting there letting time pass me by. That might be sad. I think I'm gonna listen back to that later and probably get really depressed. But
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily sad. It's just, well, because I could have like just fucking chilled out and done nothing before the podcast, but like I went to the grocery store and then like I put away my dishes and then I washed some dishes and all this other stuff that I was, doing to, I guess, be productive or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I can relate because I feel like there's stuff that needs to be getting done when I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And even if that's having a conversation with someone that's intended to make us better humans, because most of my conversations are pretty close to that, or there's something that's at least stimulating enough that it'll entertain me, I guess, in a cerebral fashion.
Yeah, which I mean, honestly, entertainment can be a source of like I don't want to say making you a better human, but a source of growth, right? Like it's not always just pointless. Like there can be like actual benefit from entertainment, I would say.
Yeah, like you can watch a documentary on Netflix and become a vegan for 2 months and then stop.
Hell yeah. Forks over knives, dog. I think that was the name of it, right? Wasn't that the name of the vegan documentary? Was it something like that?
I don't know. There's one every quarter. They have one out every 6 months. True, or if it's not vegan, then it's like keto or some other gimmick diet.
Hey, that's not a gimmick diet. Hold on.
Okay, vegan is not really a gimmick diet, but keto definitely is.
No, it's not.
What? It's a thing that's always existed. Now all of a sudden we like give it a name and put it all over the. Okay, when you go to the grocery store and in the line there is right next to People magazine where they're talking about the royal family of shit fuck. And like next to that is the keto diet catalog. Come on.
Okay. Well, I would argue though that just the cheesiness of the advertisement does not mean the thing itself is a gimmick. Like, yes, we have turned it into, we can turn things into, I don't want to say turn them into gimmicks. We can make things gimmicky, but that doesn't mean the thing itself is an actual gimmick. Like it's not like a pseudoscience. I don't know. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws here. Shit.
What?
Fuck.
Hey, you got one of those straws. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, man. I was really trying there. Shit. All right. I don't know how to relax, and I fall for gimmicks. Fuck.
I don't know. Did you do it before it was cool?
And I'm a hipster. God damn it.
I kind of baited you. I was hoping you'd bite. So
fuck.
Actually, I did. But now that I think about it, there have been occasions in which.
Well, exactly, Lee. Thank you. Like that's the point I was trying to make. Is like ketogenesis has always been a thing. It's not like that's not a gimmick, but turning it into a fad the way that we have is gimmicky. I understand where you're coming from, but it's always been like, I mean, it is a like when you go into starvation, you know ketogenesis kicks in. Like that's always just been a biological reality. But like, I do understand where you're coming from, though, that it has been very popularized and has become very gimmicky.
Yeah, let's give it an affectionate 2-syllable name like keto. So catchy. Let's start to personally identify with it. Are you keto? Yes, I am keto.
One of my this guy I work with was like traveling cross country, and he stopped. He's not doing like a ketogenic diet, but he's tried to cut out a lot of like breads and stuff. And he went in somewhere and he got a burger and he just asked for it with like no bun on a plate. And he had never heard the term keto before. And the person was like, "Oh, are you keto?" And he was like, "No, I'm Ted." What is that?
Who is keto?
Yeah, who the hell is keto?
Is that a comic book character?
I think it was O.J. Simpson's friend, right?
Oh, is that the one that killed Superman?
Nice. Did you finish that movie, by the way? Were you able to make it all the way through Justice League?
Yes.
Okay. Did you?
It's not the worst. Not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Did you relax while watching it though?
Yeah, man. I drank like 3 Bloody Marys.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
I actually had to rewatch the last 20 minutes because of all the Bloody Marys. So I sat through the end of it twice, actually. Once sober.
That's impressive. Well, that's like that's a whole nother subject that people actually use for relaxation, like chemical adulterants. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that either, drink or do recreational drugs to relax. Is that a good thing, a bad thing, or a neutral thing, in your opinion?
I think the thing that we constantly come back to is balance.
True.
And I think that as long as that can be done while there's some kind of balance or equilibrium being maintained, then I think that it's fine. But if it gets to the point where it's a substance that's not really, that you yourself are not capable of maintaining some kind of balance with it, then that's not necessarily a good thing. I think that if someone says like, I intended to relax and I think that adult beverage will be beneficial and the effort of me relaxing is different than I need a drink to relax. I think that if you just use it as like an aid in helping yourself relax, that it's not necessarily a bad thing. And everybody, I think, it's pretty obvious when it's an issue. It's like every time you intend to relax, you wake up next to a stranger with a strange sore on your genitals. It's like, well, that was quick
and relaxing.
And so so it really just depends upon how it is that you use that thing. And in some situations, especially for beers, I found a lot of people find the sensation of and the enjoyment of the beverage to be more of the relaxing element than the actual alcohol itself.
Yeah, like especially with a lot of like craft beer aficionados and things like that. Yeah.
And I think that if it's like I am going to relax and part of that will be eating a piece of cheesecake, that's also cool. I mean, if that's something that you find relaxing or that it's something that you can do to help yourself enjoy the act of relaxing more, then that's cool. But it's the same thing. I mean, you don't want it to get to the point where the only thing you can use or you can make use of in some fashion is a specific substance, no matter what that substance is, to relax. Then there's a problem there.
What about prescribed? What if you actually have a problem with anxiety and the only way you can relax involves your anxiety medication, your Xanax or your Valium or whatever it is? Is that, I mean, do you think those things are overprescribed? Do you think that there is a natural, like, that could be possible for some people, that there is like a physiological problem they're having where they need medication to relax? Or do you think it may always be a like a psychosomatic thing?
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely have issues with anxiety. I don't think that that's a surprise to anyone. I've been prescribed anti-anxiety meds in the past, and they never really helped me relax. It was still, I mean, like a lot of my anxiety stems from social situations. I have social anxiety more than any other manifestation of anxiety. And while on my anti-anxiety medication, social situations were still just as nerve-wracking for me, and I felt all the physiological symptoms and the mental symptoms. So like I can't speak on the side of it helping me. But I believe that it could be possible that it is a actual physical thing to someone, and that by taking, even like beta blockers or something like that is going to get rid of the actual physical symptoms. Maybe that's not unhealthy for that to be required for relaxation. I don't know.
Well, because this is veering into an extreme that the conversation doesn't necessarily encompass.
True.
Because this isn't someone who is tense. This is someone who is feeling a very intense physiological response to situations and thoughts in a fashion that's getting in the way of them actually living their life.
Okay.
And you know, the whole thing with like psychiatric drugs for any number of things that's a whole other conversation we can totally have, and I think that would be a cool one to have. Yeah. So many ideas tonight. All the ideas.
Yeah, we got to write down both of those. There were two that came up.
Yeah, well, anxiety in particular, just anxiety in general was one, and then we talked about psychiatric drugs as another. So
that would be interesting.
I'll write those down.
Thanks. Yeah, I was gonna pull up Notepad, but my keyboard's loud as fuck, and I hate typing on the podcast. I tried to.
Yes, you have a loud keyboard. Every press of the keys sounds like 6 Mises clicking at the same time.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
It's really what it sounds like. But yeah, I think that if we're talking about a person that is not prescribed a substance that requires that substance in order to relax, then there is an issue there. It's another thing if it's just part of the whole process of doing it. And it's not necessarily the drug part of it that's really having the most effect on the individual. But it's like, I guess we've really gotten to the point here where I'm thinking that neither of us is, okay, jury's still out on how screwed up, if at all, we are. But I think that for this particular subject, maybe relaxation really is just a subjective thing.
I think it has to be, yeah. Yeah, it has to be, right? Like, there's no way that every person on the planet could find some activity or some state relaxing. There's always going to be someone that's not what they want to do, and it's going to give them some sort of anxiety or some sort of feeling that is not relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense because people look at me like I'm nuts when I tell them that riding a motorcycle kind of fast in the mountains is, on the inside I'm just cool as a fucking cucumber. They're like, you're crazy. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not. Don't call me crazy. The first indication that you're crazy is when you tell people often not to call you crazy. Yeah. Or else everyone will be like, yeah, that's relaxing.
Well, exactly. Like it has to be a very individual thing. I mean, there may be broad categories. Like it may not be literally individual where there's going to be, 7 billion different answers of what is relaxation. Maybe people fall into a few smaller categories, but I don't think that it could be an objective thing across the board.
So I guess for us in particular, the most important thing for us is to determine how, when we are doing the things we intended to do to relax, how do we keep those things relaxing? Because sometimes it's cool, like, to just get on a video game or go to an athletic event or to go to the gym or whatever and just like turn it up and like perform as well as you possibly can just because you want to get better at it. That's completely acceptable. But if it's a time when you really do just need to relax, then it doesn't make sense to turn it up at the gym or to go crazy trying to finish this thing or get that quest or whatever done in whatever video game it is you're playing, or go out there and make sure that you and the guys you play with absolutely kick ass in 6 different matches in the game that you play. And like for you to like get mad at your buddies for not communicating, and you shouldn't have thrown that grenade then, and what is wrong with you, and I can't believe you got shot in the back, and blah 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 blah. So
I think a lot of it comes down to your goals versus like your goals and the enjoyment you're getting from it versus the relaxation. If you're
is it possible for the goals to bring enjoyment?
Ooh, I want to say yes, but there's always that, like, you're always chasing the dragon, right? It's like you set goals, you reach those goals, there's a brief fleeting moment of enjoyment, and then it's what's next. You never you didn't reach the top of the mountain and you're actually at the peak, right? There's always a higher peak that you're then going to set your eyes on. I don't know then. Is that the question you were asking? Is it possible for the goals to bring enjoyment, or did I take that in a different direction?
No, I mean that's to some degree, because all that did was sort of like change or focus my train of thought on that, because I guess that in every case, a goal, it's not achieving the goal that's really the reward.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that you spent the time working toward it usually.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think that in the stuff that I've done, particularly in bicycling things, it's usually the training time I miss.
Okay.
Like the event is cool, but just having a thing to work toward is actually the part that I think is the most exciting about it.
Well, then you are actually getting a rewarding feeling from just the activity itself then, the training. It sounds like, at least.
But is it relaxing just because it's rewarding?
See, I don't know. And that's what I'm like. I mean, of course, for me, my mind is going to World of Warcraft. And it's like, I know that I only enjoy playing that game when I'm playing at a certain level. You know, like I'm not just saying like actual, like the level of my character. I just mean like the level of status or whatever. You know, I like being a high level character that people look up to. I don't just want to be some nobody. I mean, maybe it's because my life in Earth is like that, so I try to escape it in Azeroth. I don't know. That I mean, it may be an escapism thing. That's very possible. But it's like to maintain that, or to reach that and then to maintain that, it requires a large amount of continued effort. To where if I want to take time to just relax, I feel that is slipping away. And that in itself causes anxiety and takes away from the relaxation feeling.
We should talk about escapism on a later podcast too.
I'm down with that. I'm very down with that. Okay.
Yeah. So have we determined that it is a necessary thing for humans to relax sometimes, though?
Ooh. Well, define necessary. Because I mean, it's not like I don't think it's gonna kill you if you don't. But
is it required for the healthiest, most fulfilling existence possible?
I don't know, because fulfilling is subjective too, right? And if someone is not feeling fulfilled by, I don't know, man. That's a tough question. What is your answer?
I mean, I think that in my experience, at least, that even if I really like something that I'm doing, I will burn out on that thing.
Okay.
Because, there have been points where I've just done so much writing, or I've done so much playing of a particular game, or I've even something enjoyable like a beer that I really like. If I have a bunch of those in a short period of time, I'm like, man, I've drank this beer every single time I've had beer in the last 6 months. I'm tired of this beer.
Huh. Okay.
Even that won't be enjoyable during my downtime. If I've done it too much. I think that maybe it's the idea of taking a break from whatever thing it is that you're doing, and maybe not just relaxing necessarily. Maybe it's just taking a break, and you can take a break from one thing and do something else. And then that's not necessarily relaxing, but you're not getting burned out in the other activity.
Is there a chance that that's all that relaxing is?
Taking a break?
Yeah. Just variety. I mean, like we're saying, like relaxation could be something different for different people. You like to relax in things that may be considered, high energy or not relaxing to other people. But the simple fact that it is stepping away from activity A and spending time in activity B, is that in itself relaxing almost? just because it's a refresh. It is a, you get variety in there. Your brain gets to switch gears.
Yeah, I guess it's almost taking comfort in the fact that you can always do something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We don't like to feel constrained, right? There's a freedom that you would feel from that just by simply knowing that there are other options. You get to step away from this task and you get to go do something else. I don't know. There may be like an inherent relaxation to that, I guess. I might be trying to grab those straws again, though.
Well, I guess if doing whatever activity you're doing causes you to not feel tense, then that activity is relaxing.
But what if the activity is camping and you're in a tent and you can't help but feel the tent? I'm sorry, that was just a weak pun.
Really,
like, come on.
Did you really just do the intense pun in a tent? Oh my god. Oh my god. I need. Oh,
all right, I told you I'm tired, man. I'm gonna blame that on exhaustion. I want to apologize to literally everyone for that weak attempt at a pun.
Is anyone looking for a co-host job on a podcast?
Fuck. Oh man, but no, like in all seriousness though, I don't know. I wonder physiologically, is there something that can be measured that is relaxation? Is it a dopamine release? Is it like there has to be, right? So if you're getting that if you're getting that from an activity that someone else would not consider relaxing, it like that means that it is relaxing for you, right? In like an almost objective way.
Yeah. Like, dude, listen to this.
Okay.
Relaxation in psychology is the emotional state of a living being of low tension, in which there is an absence of arousal that could come from sources such as anger, anxiety, or fear. According to the Oxford Dictionary, relaxation is when the body and mind are free from tension and anxiety. Let's see.
Okay.
Because I think that I saw something about neuroscience in here specifically.
That's interesting then, because I mean
the brain reduces endorphins, oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine.
Okay.
In the presence of danger, the bad feeling chemical cortisol comes in.
Yeah.
So by this standard, it's like oxytocin is also supposed to be something that's released when, assuming you don't have some fear of being touched. If someone hugs you, oxytocin is usually one of the things that's released in the brain.
Okay.
So by this definition, if we know that excessive cortisol levels are detrimental to humans, which I think we do at this point, and I mean animals in general, if this state is required to decrease cortisol levels or to moot cortisol production for a period of time, then I think we could actually say that this really is a necessary thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Whatever activity in your mind releases like the oxytocin or whatever, endorphins, any of the feel-good chemicals, that they could be, you could call those activities relaxing. Because even when, like, for example, if I'm riding a motorcycle and I go into a corner a little too hot and I have a bit of a scare, I'm like, whoa, freaked out for a minute. But then after the stressful part goes away, I feel just a little bit high.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because my body's releasing feel-good chemicals or if the scary stress chemicals are just going away, and that's how I'm feeling.
Maybe a little bit of both, right? In all reality, there's probably some.
Probably both. Yeah. So we could say that anytime the feel-good chemicals in your brain are being released during an activity, that from a neuroscience standpoint, like, you're relaxed. Yeah,
basically, yeah. As long as it sounds to be like that it has to be in the absence of the like cortisol, right? Because it's like you can, it's not a light switch thing. There can be activities that are going to be releasing both, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I would think. I don't know. I'm not a neuroscientist.
I know we need to get a neuroscientist.
We really should get one.
That would be a
Yeah,
sweet guest.
here's another definition here. Relaxation is a form of mild ecstasy coming from the frontal lobe of the brain, in which backward cortex sends signals to the frontal cortex via a mild sedative.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a lot of ways you can achieve this.
Yeah.
But yeah, relaxation can be achieved through meditation, autogenics, and progressive muscle relaxation. Relaxation helps improve coping with stress. Stress is the leading cause of mental problems and physical problems. Therefore, feeling relaxed is beneficial for a person's health.
Yeah. So basically, like we determined that it is basically necessity. It is a necessity. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I would say that because it the best physiological definition we can get is just the release of those, like what we call the feel good chemicals. That is going to be a subjective thing for different people. There's going to be different activities that are going to cause you to enter that state. It cannot be across the board that, oh nope, the correct answer is meditation for everyone. Sorry, your relaxation is wrong. That's silly.
So there's nothing wrong with us?
I wouldn't go that far. There's still
Okay.
plenty wrong with us, but maybe the way in which we relax is not actually objectively wrong. We did it. We solved science.
We do science here. That's what we do. It's a recurring theme here is science. We are scientists.
Yeah, no.
Did you hear that sound? It was the sound of science.
What does science sound like to you? Is it like a dying giraffe?
It sounds, you have to do science to hear science.
Okay, so it's like a personal. Okay, so I did a little bit of science there. So I think that oh, but see, I've got my headset on. So the science was probably outside of the headset and I couldn't actually hear it because my headset tunes things out. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, the headset must have held the science out, because like these are not noise canceling, these earbuds, so I heard the science.
Gotcha. Okay.
It happened. We do science.
Well, so I mean, we're getting near the end. Is there like a descriptive or a normative part of this that we need to touch on? Like, we don't really need to like learn how to relax better, right? Or like, or there's nowhere to go as far as like improving relaxation for us, or do we need to learn how to relax better?
I mean, it's just maybe it's just having an awareness of how we're feeling doing an activity. If you feel stressed, when you feel stressed. So
yeah,
another thing is if fight or flight, cortisol, and all that stuff. Typically, people with high cortisol levels have really effed up hormones.
Okay, yeah, true.
Like sex hormones in particular, and that can make people really miserable and like all work and no play. Yeah, that one makes such and such a dull boy or gal, whatever.
Was that like originally from The Shining, or was that a saying before that?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it existed before The Shining.
Okay.
I actually haven't seen The Shining in so long. I forgot that was in it. So yeah, I mean, really, it's not. Just be aware of when you're getting stressed, I guess, and then if you feel stressed, do the things that can alleviate that, regardless of if it's just going skeet shooting or curling up with some hot chocolate and reading a shitty book.
All right, so in that regard, then let's say you had a stressful day from work. You want to come home and quote unquote relax to your best ability. And you load up Rainbow Six and you and your boys are playing, and they are, high tension, sweaty matches. You feel that you're stressed, but you're also having a good time. Do you think that you should do something else, or do you think that is relaxing in and of itself because it's the hobby you want to be doing?
Well, if I should be doing, well, I think that I could just adjust the way that I'm playing it. I don't have to be as all crazy and gung ho as I'm being. I don't have to take it so crazy serious, because I'm in control of how I feel about it.
True.
So
yeah.
I just need to be okay with the fact that you're doing this for fun, and if you lose, that's okay. And if it gets a little intense, that's okay, as long as it doesn't stay that way.
Okay.
If all I'm feeling is tension for a number of matches, then I realize at that point that I need to do something different. And if I realize over time that something that was relaxing to me before is now causing me stress, I need to chill out with that thing and figure out some other stuff.
Yeah.
So
maybe a sign that you're taking it too seriously, or that it's
yeah, being aware of and in control of how you're feeling about the certain thing, and having goals in a hobby, there's nothing wrong with that, as
Yeah.
long as we don't beat the hell out of ourselves for not getting there.
Yeah,
Just
or
and
as long as you don't go out of bounds with the rest of your life, making sure you meet those goals.
yeah, like staying up till 2 a.m. when you have to be at work the next day.
Yeah, I don't know anyone that would do that though. That sounds pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like what the Big Dog 79 said in chat though. It is imperative to relax, because if you're not relaxed, you're exposed to all the physical and mental perils of stress, which is basically, I mean, a way of wording what we just read. That, I mean, if you're not doing something or not making sure you're taking time to relax, you're going to have elevated cortisol levels, which are objectively not good, and you're going to feel the effects of that.
Yeah, there was a word actually. Let me see if I can remember the word. Actually, I'm going to look it up because I cannot remember it. It's a Japanese word. I think that it came about in the 80s.
Okay.
Karoshi. Karoshi is the word for over. It's death from overwork.
I was worried you were going to go with hentai, but karoshi is much better.
That is okay. We'll have a podcast on that too.
Yes, hentai podcast. Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, that's a clear indication. In reality, there's a reason why that term is used there, is because there was a period of time where the work culture in Japan was so intense that people would just keel over from working.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. That's going into this, I was like, thinking that the situation that we've gotten to in America is not bad, but it's just like we've kind of almost bred relaxation out, where you want to be as productive as possible, you want to work as hard as possible, that if you don't, there's another person that will, so you're always trying to it's a very competitive nature with like the business world and all shit like that. But I don't think we've taken it to that level, at least.
Let's be clear that in no way are we advocating laziness. There's a difference between knowing when you are feeling stress and you need to calm down and do something that's relaxing versus never doing anything.
Yeah. I think there's an acceptable level of stress, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you're feeling a very small inkling of stress, that's not like, oh, I need to back away from this and go relax now. But
yeah, and relax until you feel the tension go away. Not like, I'm feeling stress, I need to not go to work for the next 3 days for the hell of it.
Well, that's interesting too, though, because that level has to be different for everyone else too, right? Like, that's got to be a subjective thing where different people could handle different amounts of stress. So there may be some people that, I mean, they're probably extremes, but there may be some people that literally, 1% on the stress scale is triggering to them, and all of a sudden they need to take some sort of break. And then there's a lot of people where, they're probably able to go way beyond what would be healthy for the vast majority.
Yeah, it's true. I think that it's different for everybody. It really just depends how you're built. I mean, some people need 8 hours of sleep. Some people can live on 6 or 4.
Which, according to sleep science, those people are supposed to be very, very rare. There's a large percentage of the population that thinks they can, but it's like, if you actually put them through mental tests, they are not functioning anywhere near their max ability. They feel like they are, but it's the same thing with drinking. I mean, there's a reason why they say that, like, being sleep deprived is almost analogous to being drunk. And it's the same, like, you kind of overestimate your abilities. When you're drunk, you think you can drive home just fine, and you don't really realize, like, how incapacitated you are. From what I understand, lack of sleep is the exact same thing. But
yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that as being truth, as being reality. And I guess it's also being self-aware, like knowing, really how it is that you're feeling, and realizing when there might be a problem is something important too, because a lot of us end up kind of ignoring ourselves and getting wrapped up in other things, like the responsibilities, and you put those things above taking care of yourself, which is a problem, because you're worthless to all of your responsibilities if you're not taking care of yourself in a fashion that allows you to function well enough to be able to fulfill those responsibilities. Did that make sense?
It did.
That
And
makes
in
sense.
fact, I'm going to steal like half of that for my closing statements. I think that we need to relax, but we need to relax in balance with the rest of our lives. Do not let yourself, like we said earlier, do not let it be an excuse to be lazy, thinking that, oh, I always need to relax. But also keep yourself in check. Like we said, you can tell when you're feeling stressed, and you can tell when you're feeling too stressed. There are levels of stress that are healthy, and there are levels of stress that are unhealthy. Take care of yourselves and relax when it's necessary, but don't overdo it. Do you have a closing statement for us?
Yeah, guys, just fucking relax, okay?
Well, we have reached the end of another episode of the Metacast podcast. If you guys are watching this on YouTube and you've enjoyed the conversation, hit that like button, subscribe to keep up to date, and comment below and let us know how you relax. If you're interested in further taking part in the conversation or even joining as a guest on a future episode, join our Discord. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode live Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/TylaTV. And thank you all for listening. I hope you guys have a great week, actually.